Do you ever feel like your mix sounds muddy or harsh no matter what you do? Well, in this video, we're breaking down how to identify problem frequency areas by ear. In our last video, we talked about the most common areas to cut with EQ. So let's get started by talking about these problem frequency areas and how we can begin to find them with our ears so that we can correct them with EQ. You may often find an area of frequencies that's causing issues in your mix. It can be something that's masking another instrument, making it difficult for one or the other to clearly stand out. Problem frequencies can show up as unwanted resonances that cause clutter, especially as more instruments are added to the mix, which can emphasize or produce excess energy in competitive frequency bands. To fix this, we can search for anything that's unflattering or just unnecessary in the mix. But how do you find out which EQ moves to make? How do you find out which frequencies are cluttering your mix and which ones are missing? But first, a word from the sponsor of today's video, DistroKid. DistroKid makes music distribution fast and easy with unlimited uploads, and artists retain 100% of their royalties and earnings. And DistroKid makes it easy to add your collaborators to projects with credits. DistroKid can credit collaborators from any song or album and send that metadata to streaming services so that everyone involved in your music gets credit for their work on the project. Songwriters, musicians, producers, beatmakers, designers, arrangers, studios, managers, drum techs, hairstylists, shoutouts, and thank yous. If you can think of a role, there's likely a credit for them with DistroKid. And if you've ever wondered how artists who collaborate manage to share the royalties on a song, DistroKid makes it easy with splits. Splits allows you to effortlessly share your earnings with collaborators. Whether it's bandmates, producers, or songwriters, DistroKid ensures that everyone gets their fair share. And the best part, DistroKid doesn't take a penny of your earnings. So if you haven't already, you can use the link in the description to get a discount off your first year subscription with DistroKid. And there's a separate educational link that's available for students and teachers. So if you're ready to get your music online and make sure that your collaborators are rightfully rewarded, DistroKid is your ultimate partner. Training your ears to pinpoint frequency ranges is essential for making smart EQ moves and creating balanced mixes. Begin by learning the basic audio frequency ranges and the typical tone or instrumental elements that occupy them. So if you clicked on this video, you might be wondering, how do I find a frequency by ear? Training your ears to pinpoint frequency ranges is essential for making smart EQ decisions and creating balanced mixes. Begin by learning the basic audio frequency ranges and the typical tone or instrumental elements that occupy them. Our goal is to be able to describe sound in a way that allows you to better understand where it's located on the frequency spectrum. If you want more information, you can look up technical ear training audio frequency ranges. So to start, could this sound be described as low or high? Now in this first example, I have 1 kilohertz as the center. This first one is going to be a low tone. How about this one? So this one would be a high note, but of course not everything fits into this A or B binary. There exists a rich middle range to the frequency spectrum. Many car stereos and guitar amplifiers have controls for bass, the low end, mids or the mid range, and treble or the high frequencies. So 3 bands or 3 areas of sound frequency information. So let's try this again. Would you say that this sound exists in the lows, the mids, or the highs? So this would be considered a mid-range tone. How about this one? Yep, that's in the low end. One more. And there's no doubt that's a high frequency. We can also get more specific with lower mids and upper mids. So that's an example of a lower mid-tone. And that one is the upper mids. And next, we can even divide our bass and treble regions into subcategories as well. So for example, we have 6 bands. This is my estimation while making this video on 6 main frequency ranges. So to start on the left, we have sub bass, which goes from 20 to 60 hertz. This is going to be the deepest rumble of kicks and bass lines. And next to that, we have the bass region going from 60 to 200 hertz. This is going to be the warmth from your bass guitars and also some parts of your kick drum. Usually the fundamental is going to live in here. Then we have the lower mids going from 200 to 800 hertz. This is going to be the body and the fullness in vocals and many instruments as well. Then the high mids or upper mids going from 800 to 4 kilohertz. This is going to add a lot of clarity, definition, and character to guitars, vocals, and many more. And next to that, we have presence going from 4 kilohertz to 10 kilohertz. So this adds presence and intelligibility. This is going to be critical for vocals and snare details. And finally, the last octave, 10 to 20 kilohertz. This is air. This is going to add sparkle and sheen to cymbals and other percussive elements. This is what makes everything nice and shiny. So let's listen to each one of these ranges in isolation on a mix. And example 5 is a similar chart I found online, but it's more granular with 7 categories. To start, we have, again, sub bass going from 20 to 60 hertz. This is that deep core, that foundation. Then we have bass going from 60 to 250 hertz. You're really going to feel it in your chest. Again, this is going to be the fundamental of the kick drum and the bass guitar as well. Then they have low mids going from 250 to 500 hertz. So this is mainly going to be the warmth of your track. And next to that, we have the mid-range going from 500 to 2 kilohertz. This is your meat and potatoes, okay? This is your core instrumental and vocal tone. Then we have high mids going from 2K to 4K. That's going to give you your clarity, your presence going from 4 to 6. This is going to add a lot of excitement to the mix. And finally, from 6K up, your brilliance. This is going to make everything nice and shiny. Okay, again, let's pull up a mix and listen to each one of these ranges in isolation.
I'm hoping that you notice when I'm not around. You think that I'd be better if by now.
Now let's talk about something really fascinating. Vowel sounding resonances, also known as formants. When you're listening to an instrument, you might notice that the tone carries a distinct vowel-like sound. And this can be a clear sign of formant resonances that occur at predictable frequency areas. And we can use this to pinpoint the frequency of that element in the tone of the instrument. Maybe you want more of it or maybe you want less of it. These resonances aren't bad on their own, but they can indicate where there's an excess of information in that frequency area, which can have the potential to clutter your mix if other instruments overlap in that area. For instance, listen for these key vowel sounds. At around 125 hertz, you might hear a deep kind of sound. At 250, we have an ooh sound. At 500, oh. At 1 kilohertz, aw. At 2 kilohertz, A. And at 4 kilohertz, E. And I even like to include 8K, where you might catch a hint of sibilance. Now, most of these vowel sounds exist in the mid-range, the very area where a lot of these instruments live, which makes it at risk for frequency clutter. As these frequencies build up, their formants become more pronounced and they risk overloading your mix in these areas. The solution is to listen for these resonances in your mix and use EQ to make strategic cuts in these problem areas. By trimming the excess frequencies, you can create more space in your mix, letting each instrument or vocal sit more clearly. So just like I mentioned in the previous video, remember that cutting problem frequencies is often more effective than just boosting because it clears a path for the real character of the sound to shine through. Once you've cleaned up your mix with some careful cuts, you can go ahead and add some boosts to enhance tone and definition. And if you want to learn more about listening for formants, you can check out this video. And if you're looking for common places to cut with EQ, I definitely recommend that you check out video 2 in this series, and let me know if you want another video on that topic. Well, I hope this video helped you out. Leave a like if it did, and consider subscribing if you want to see more videos like this one. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
When all we do is talk, it's not my fault.